You know what I really love? I really love finding teams for raids that let us go high and go underman. I particularly love it if these are older characters that a lot of people are having and are all requirements at Relic 7 for one journey guide event or another. Let's talk about things in the Naboo raid with another 3-man max scoring team. So today we are looking at this Maul lead team. The small team is actually incredibly valuable because you only need 3 characters to get it off the ball. It works at low tiers and it works at very high tiers. There is a little bit of an interesting stopgap at Relic 8 where currently it's better with a B2 lead in my experience, but nonetheless this works at sort of the Relic 5 tier, the Relic 7 tier, and it looks like it's most likely going to work at the Relic 9 tier as well. Funnily enough, I don't have a Relic 9 Darth Maul, Sidious, and Newt. Newt Gunray in this setup is actually replaceable as well. You can throw in other units into this mix, but I wouldn't really recommend it. This does give people that are in that sort of early game, perhaps the people that have unlocked C, maybe people have unlocked Jabba, that sort of thing, maybe mid-game players, an option to underman at high scores, and they'll be able to max it out. It does require remodding, and it's not something that you really want to play manual, but your boy Scribble is here to tell you how to get a max score. Let's do this. Let's talk about modding then for the time being. I'll go through each individual character, I'll explain my modding preferences and why I think they should be the way they are, because this raid is a little bit differently. And one of the things that I like about this raid is that each team feels and plays differently and you have to try and account for a different playstyle. So, for Darth Maul himself, we want 2 things. We want a lot of offense, we want a lot of crit chance, and we want a smattering of speed. So you can see I'm running here with a crit chance set and an offense set as far as mod sets are concerned. On the arrow over here, we've got an offense primary and a bit of speed and a lot of crit chance. Over here on the triangle, we've got a crit damage primary, we've got speed on the secondary and crit chance on the secondary. You want to try and max out as much of this as possible. Over here on the cross, it's an offense primary, and we've got speed and crit chance. Once again, that's what we're looking for on all of our mods over here. This one over here has a bit of crit chance, but it also has 5 rolls of speed and 5 rolls of offense percentile. That's really what you're looking for. Again, on the triangle over, the diamond over here, speed and offense and crit chance. These are all the things that you want. Speed and crit chance. Offense over here, obviously. So let's see what the ultimate impact on our stats is. We want our Maul to be around 230 speed. Around 230, 240 is probably best. We've got the crit damage going up, and you want at least sort of 10k damage is where I would say is the sweet spot. More is better. The more damage you can get, the better off you'll be. And then as much crit chance as you possibly can. The enemy rocks stacking amounts of crit avoidance based on the tier that you go in. So the higher the tier, the more crit chance you're going to need. And you're going to want crit chance because as we are critting, because we're using Sidious in the team and he's not in the lead, his leadership is still active. And every time we crit, we are going to be ramping our stats and our damage in particular. So we need to crit all the time, all right? And even with 130%, we're not critting all the time. At least not for the 1.8 mil box. So more is better, even though Darth Maul does generate a lot of advantage. I find there's plenty of occasions where he doesn't have advantage and you need to land that crit to get a kill and keep ramping your stats. You run a real risk otherwise of not clearing the entire thing. So next up on the list, and the second most important character for us to mod, is going to be Sidious. I mod him similarly, but we also want to be considering potency for Sidious. The reason we want potency is because his demoralizing blows over here can inflict dots, but also exposes for 2 turns, and we do want those exposes to land. Exposes do percentile max health damage to the enemy, which is a boatload of damage against the enemies in this raid, so try and get your potency up there. Speed is a little bit more important for him because he doesn't generate bonus turns when we use a basic with Darth Maul. So I've got him 318 speed on Sidious, obviously still got that crit damage triangle, 90% potency, and I'm confident I could probably push that potency quite a bit higher. So on the arrow is an offense primary with speed and crit chance, and over here crit damage on the triangle with speed and percentile offense, and then potency over here, offense set and potency set with fast mods, and as much offense and potency as you can get. So that's kind of the core. I'm just below 10k offense here. Crit chance is at about 92%. It's decent enough. Now, Newt is the last person, and I would say he is the least important, Once again, this is a guy that you want to have him fast and you want to have him potent, okay? So you want to be able to get that potency relatively high. Mine's at 100% here, gaining 60% from my modding, and as fast as possible. His first special is what we're going to be using a lot, Dubious Dealings, and this can put speed down on the enemy team, which is just helpful. It's just helpful. Your Newt will most likely die during the run. Okay, let's go start looking at the footage and we'll do a wave-by-wave guide on this run. So that's the modding. Let's talk about the strategy and why this team works. First and foremost, we need to go ahead and check out the details of the granted abilities of this particular raid. First and foremost, we have got faction bonuses for Separatists. That Separatists also covers off a bunch of the Sith bonuses. First and foremost, Darth Sidious, his leadership ability is available at max rank and applies to Separatist allies when he is not in the leader slot. Okay, so what this actually means is, if he is not in the lead, his leadership activates. Okay? It will apply obviously to Sith, but also to any Separatists that are in the team. You could put him in a Jedi team and it would activate and apply to any Separatists or Sith you have in the team. So let's just get that out of the way first and foremost. Okay, so Separatists and Sith allies also have got 100% max health, 25% accuracy and offense, 50% potency, and 20 speed, which gets tripled for Darth Maul. So Darth Maul has 60 speed. Whenever a Separatist or Sith ally takes damage, they're going to ramp up 20% defense for one turn, which makes them very hard to put down. And whenever an enemy is defeated by a Separatist or a Sith ally, all allies are going to recover 15% health and protection. Whenever a Sith ally inflicts a debuff, they also deal 5% max health damage to the enemy, which can't be evaded, and whenever a Separatist ally in the leader slot uses a special ability, Sith are called to assist. So that's part of it, it's great. So we're going to have dual activation of both Maul's leadership and Sidious's leadership at the same time, and that is why this run works so well. Second of all, we do have additional bonuses for Darth Maul. This character has got 25% additional max protection, offense, and 20% additional mastery. He does have crit damage and crit chance on his mastery, so that's great. Whenever he inflicts a debuff, he's going to recover 10% health and protection, and stack 10% offense for one turn. Offense and defense for one turn. So, Maul's leadership, what does it do? All Sith allies are going to gain 20% evasion, 20% turn meter, and stealth for one turn at the start of the encounter, and whenever they evade or critically hit, they cannot be critically hit while stealth. They gain advantage for 2 turns whenever that stealth expires. The stealth and turn meter for this ability ignores taunting allies. So essentially, we are going to have a little bit of additional evasion. We're also going to stealth ourselves when we get crit. When we are stealthed, we can't be crit, and when that stealth drops, we gain advantage, which is so useful because it guarantees a critical hit, and obviously crit damage, lots of damage output, alright? We've also got the Power of Hatred. This is also quite useful. Gives Maul some additional max health, and he gains 10% of the damage he deals as more max health and additional potency as a percentile of his max health. Whenever he defeats an enemy, for the first 3 enemies that defeated, he's going to gain some additional bonuses. First enemy, 25% crit chance, vitally important. Second enemy, 25% evasion. Third enemy, 25% max health recovery on hitting. So he's basically gaining 25% of his max health back whenever he does an attack. It's pretty crazy. We also need to look at Sidious's leadership, and this is kind of a linchpin for this team. All allies are gaining 15% crit chance and 30% crit damage. Sith allies are going to gain 2% offense until the end of the encounter whenever they score a critical hit. So every time we crit, we're ramping our offense by 2%. The higher your base offense, the better off you're going to be. The higher the crit chance, the more crits, the more offense you're going to be ramping. That is kind of it in a nutshell, guys. Let's start talking about the run. So wave 1 is pretty straightforward. We're going to go ahead and use the extortion ability from Newt first and foremost, then just a basic from Sidious. We want to save those AoEs until after the enemy have taken their turns so that they can, heal up and they can, give themselves stats and stuff. So we'll do back-to-back AoEs here. All of those crits are ramping our offense, which is huge. AoE again, nice amount of damage. Sidious is gaining bonus turn meter whenever an enemy dies. Maul is going to gain a bonus turn whenever he kills an enemy with a basic. Well, sorry, let me clarify. It's not a bonus turn. He gains 100% turn meter if it's his turn and he kills an enemy with a basic. So we can chain back-to-back basics there to get round into the next wave. Wave 2, this will always have this triple chevron modifier for the command droid. What that does is every time you take a turn, an enemy gets a bonus turn. It's annoying, irritating, and it will interrupt your runs. It can, if you have too many of that modifier in the run, it can actually stop you from getting max scores. and it adds RNG into the basis, okay? Because this droider could take a bonus turn right at the start, get up damage immunity, and delay you just a little bit. So we'll continue. I'm increasing the cooldowns on Droideka so that he can't roll up and get that damage immunity straight away. We want to try and get kills on Droideka as soon as possible. See that there? Maul killed a unit with a basic. He took a bonus turn. I did the AoE to generate more offense, and AoE'd again with Sidious, who then killed 2 units, so he got a full turn me to train again. So Sidious just goes back to back to back, which was absolutely great. Now, first time we get to call in the ship in the 3rd wave. What you want to look for is the modifier on the command droid. If the modifier on the command droid is the bonus turn ability, you want to use the 2nd special, where you destroy the radio antenna on the starship. So let's go ahead and take a look. So if that is the bonus turn modifier, you want to go ahead and use this 2nd ability over here, okay? Because we didn't, I don't think I chose to do it. I used the 1st one, and that's going to give me essentially massively overpowered. So we just target down the stap, kill him immediately. One of the takeaways for this raid is you always want to take out the unique units rather than the B ones. Get rid of the droidekas, get rid of the staps as soon as possible. This wave, we hope to get as much damage as we possibly can, as quickly as we can. Every crit is going to be ramping us. See, this is a real important part of Maul's kit. When enemies are like this, they are at like half health, we want to try and make sure that we're landing basics, and every time we kill them, we're going to take 100% turn meter to our Maul again, and that's going to let us chain basics, so we keep that enrage meter nice and low. Don't be tempted to AoE unless you absolutely have to, okay? Alright, so we're looking good so far. We are looking good. So, double Droideka and a bonus turn. This is kind of like a worst case scenario. Double Droideka wave with bonus turn meter modifier. Nothing we can do about it. Kill the Droideka as soon as possible. Nearly killed the Droideka there as well. Bit of a shame we didn't manage to do it. AoE from Sidious does manage to clap cheeks though, and we've got a lot of exposes and damage over times. If we can get some chain kills off Maul, that would be absolutely fantastic. So just looking to throw that extortion out, get the speed down where we can. And ooh, we could do a nice AoE in a second here from Maul. He's got that 100% turn meter. AoE from Maul. Good damage there. You will lose your nuke most likely as well, guys. Don't worry about that. So I'm just looking to kill anybody I can. There goes nuke. Just do a basic here. And they're gone. So AoEs again. Nice amount of damage there coming out of Sidious. And a basic from Sidious. More crits means he's ramping up more offense. Okay, so this is wave 2. We still do not have the bonus turn modifier. If we don't have the bonus turn modifier, we do not want to destroy the radio antenna on the ship, okay? So this one gives us locked tenacity up, which means that these staps cannot actually put provoke on us. Provoke is kind of game ending. You do not like provoke because it's going to basically reduce all your damage when you're counterattacking and stuff like that, and do a significant amount of damage to yourself. So there we go. We're ramping up, gaining additional turns with Maul right now as soon as they've, finished interrupting me. Again, I'm trying to get rid of the stats as soon as possible. Unfortunately, not quite enough offense on Maul to get that kill. So I might try and pump up that offense on him just a little bit more. Alright, so I just got rid of the buffs on Stap. It increased his cooldowns as well. I think we'll do a basic, then an AoE. No, just a straight up AoE. Oh, double AoEs, double bubble, back to back. That's how you clear through waves very, very quickly. Getting stuff like that done really helps keep that enrage meter nice and low. So we can see here, this is a worst case scenario. We're going into a late wave where there are more and more enemies. There is the bonus turn modifier, and it's a double Droideka. This is a horrible setup. Nothing you can do about it when it happens like this, guys. But again, focus down the Droidekas. Focus down the Droidekas or the Staps if it is a Stap run. Those are the big threats. We want to get rid of them as soon as possible. 150k coming out of Maul on a basic right now. Not bad at all. We'll definitely lose Newt here. And you don't have to worry too much about your Sith. They should be tanky enough thanks to all the ramping defense that they're going to be getting, all the extra stats that they've got. So 95k coming out of Sidious there. We can't do anything about that Droideka at the moment. Big AoE, lots and lots of damage there. AoEs, boom. Sidious clearing house. We're just stuck behind that Droideka damage immunity. See, the problem with this run here is this is a terrible setup right now because Droideka and the Commander Droid are the last 2 units, and they've got the bonus turn meter. So that Droideka is going to be really hard to find that opening. We have to hope for something like that you get like 180k crit from Maul. Alright, so this is the last time. And look, we still don't have a bonus turn. So I managed to get all the bonus turn commander droids on the off turns for the fleet. And then every time we got the fleets, we didn't get it. So we've only got one special ability left to use. We're going to use the second special ability, which destroys the antenna. That is the most important one to use if they've got the bonus turn. It's still good because it stops them from gaining any abilities from their command droid. An AoE here will clear house. 90% on the enrage right now. Looks like I'm trying to farm basics from Maul, but one big AoE, absolutely wonderful Maul coming through. Now, if you get to this point, this is the final wave. If you reach the final wave and you are not in enrage, enrage will not trigger. So this is where you want to get to. No enrage, so the shields are still up. You're in the final wave. If you've managed to do that, you are going to be fine, okay? You're going to be fine because they never are going to hit enrage. Just treat it like you would any other wave. Go after the droidicas first, and then deal with the command droids, okay? You should have ramped up so much offense at this point that you are basically one-tapping everybody. Nice big AoEs there. Look at that damage coming out of Maul. That is just beautiful. And then I think we've got one coming up from Sidious that's going to do some pretty decent damage. Unfortunately, they did have the bonus turn modifier again and started healing all the way up, but looks like Sidious is going to be generating so much turn meter himself, and then Maul generating turn meter. Oh, it's just beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. And that is basically how the run goes, guys. That is it. Now, I've managed to do that at tiers below that as well. You don't have to do it at the R7 tier. You can do it at the R5 tier as well, just at a lower tier. It's easier at the lower tiers. You can see it's 1.2 million max. Easier because the crit avoidance isn't as high. So it's a little bit easier on the modding. You can focus a little bit more towards that sort of offense output. And the way you approach it is exactly the same. You just want to try and get those AoEs out. You want to try and get the enemies killed as quickly as possible. I'm not going to show it all because it is straightforward. You know, we'll just jump ahead. You can see it gets to just Maul on his own in enrage right there, and we do somehow manage to get the kills because they can't actually kill Maul. He's ramped up too much max health. Pretty crazy, but 1.2 million, very easy to get done with Relic 7 Maul. And that's going to about do it for this 3-man guide for the raid. Let me know in the comment section down below, was it useful to you? Are there any other teams that you want me to test? I've got 3 more that I'm going to be pushing out, and then I'm going to be doing my plan to hit max box for my guild. That's all coming out hopefully very soon, hopefully this week. Make sure you like if you haven't already, and subscribe as well so you don't miss a thing. Huge shout out to my wonderful patrons. You guys are awesome. I will see you all in the very next video. Peace out, and may the Force be with you.